RBI and the government after the budget. What do the numbers look like? My question is to the RBI governor. A lot of questions have been raised about the estimates for FY20 as well as the revised estimates for FY19. What is the finance minister's assessment on that, number one? And number two, I can ask one more aside in terms of the Yes Bank report which has come out and the issue of private ownership of banks, the Kota Mahindra issue, if the governor can separately answer that question, but the first one is on the budget.
You asked three questions in one. You see, the numbers issue is always raised for 364 days. It gets answered on the 365th day. And that is also going to be the outlook as far as both FY19 and FY20 is concerned.
Also the issue of the private sector banks.
You see, the issue of, you mentioned two cases. The Kotak case, as you know, is pending in the court, in the Bombay High Court. So therefore, it will not be correct on my part to comment on that matter because it is sub judice. With regard to the Yes Bank case, it's an issue between the regulator and the regulated entity. Having said that, I would like to also add that it's the effort of Reserve Bank of India to constructively engage with all the regulated entities, including the banks, to ensure that there is compliance of the various regulatory requirements.
Sir, there is a report that MSME credit flow has come down. So, any specific measure which RBI can think of to increase that credit flow to MSMEs?
The MSMEs, as you know, that we have come out, the Reserve Bank of India has on 1st January announced a restructuring package for the MSME units. Now, up to 25 crores loan outstanding, all those cases are covered in that restructuring package. So now the ball lies in the court of the banks to implement, to restructure the loans of the eligible MSMEs as per the rules and as per the guidelines given the MSME package. Yeah. I'll come back.
So one question is on policy of course. That despite the 25 basis point rate cut, banks have just cut their MPLR by 5 basis points, and maybe over the next 2 months we're unlikely to see any further cuts from banks. So how will the policymakers ensure that the policy transmission itself is quick and complete and passed on to the real sector, including companies, consumers?
You see, transmission of rates is very important, especially after the central bank announces a rate cut. As already stated in our post-MPC press conference, I am having an interaction with the CEOs and MDs of the various banks, both public and private sector banks, and that is now scheduled to be held on the 21st of this month, that is in the latter part of this week. So we will discuss that issue with the banks and see what needs to be done.
Sir, do you think there is a need for different PCA norms for state-owned banks and private banks in the country? Because state-owned banks, because they have a sovereign right.
Oh, it's a, I mean, are you giving a suggestion or it's a question?
Do you think there is it feasible to have different PCA norms?
No, the regulator doesn't differentiate between, government-owned and private entities because both of them are in the same market competing with each other. So therefore, you have to treat both of them equally. Yes.
So my question is for RBI Governor. What has RBI decided independently on interim dividend to the government? The minister said RBI decides independently. So can you tell us what is the view in RBI? Are you going to give 48,000?
No, once it is decided in the central board, then it will be proper for me to comment. I cannot prejudge and preempt what the board will decide. So as soon as the board decides, you will come to know about it.
And one question.
No, please. I think we'll have to. Yes.
In the past, you said real interest rates are very high in India. So RBI cut interest rates in its last meeting. What is your view now? You think there is further scope if real interest rates are still very high in the country?
Well, the RBI knows the real situation. So let's leave their jurisdiction to them.
Yes, Arun.
This question is for the governor. Sir, there are two recent schemes announced in the budget. One is the PM Kisan, one is the pension scheme for unorganized sector. We have seen more often than not such flagship schemes, especially schemes like Narega, and often overshoot the budgeted targets. Irrespective of what has been allocated in the budget, what sort of fiscal pressure do you think that these two schemes will have on the central government's finances? And secondly, as a regulator of banks, how bullish are you regarding announcements of further PSB mergers in the coming fiscal?
I think both the issues are in the domain of the government. There are, yes, sir.
You see, all schemes cost, but year after year, our experience of the last 5 years has been that there has been a reasonably high growth as far as revenues are concerned. So at one stage, governments were finding it difficult, particularly in year 12, 13, 13, 14, etc., even to accommodate 28,000 crores in Manrega, the example you gave. Today it's possible to accommodate 60,000 crores because it's transmission of money through the DBT as far as the weaker sections are itself concerned. So my own experience has been that when we announce schemes and fix a target, they are factored into the budget, which factors in the revenue growth itself. Our experience in the past really has been of the SBI merger. Now it's the second one which is taking place. I think India needs fewer and mega banks which are strong, because in every sense, from borrowing rates to optimum utilization, the economies of scale as far as banking sector are concerned are of great help.
My question is to the governor. Sir, you had announced that retail loans will now be linked to external standards, and the deadline for the same is April 1. So there's still no clarity whether this deadline stays or not. So your views on it, and also on the interim dividends. So the government has requested you to transfer the surplus that the RBI had transferred to the contingency fund for FY17 and FY18. So does this not contradict the stand that the government and RBI are taking together on setting up a committee to look into the surplus that RBI should hold onto its balance sheet?
So the issue of interim dividend, I think I have already replied. As and when the board decides, you will come to know about it. And the committee under Dr. Bimal Jalan is already, they have commenced their deliberations. The meetings of the committee are being held. So I have nothing to say on that. And what was the other part you said? No, that thinking of Litten, that is the external benchmark what you are mentioning about. That we have received a lot of comments, and we are examining those comments internally in the RBI. Yes, please.
Hello.
Do you want to say something?
Last two questions.
Yes, sir. So I think we'll just take two more and then we have to conclude.
So, Meghna Mittal from Business Television India. There has been the thinking in the government that the banking norms are still very higher as compared to the global Basel III norms, which need to be relaxed further. So what is your view on that?
Well, any interaction between the government and the central bank, I think it's better that we will do it directly rather than, through the media. So this process has been, this matter has been discussed. So all such issues, I think it's better we leave it to be discussed internally. Vinay, yeah.
So my question is to FM. So we had a package for farmers in the budget. Now there's a poorer class which is the landless agricultural laborers. Have we thought about that class?
You see, already if you look at this, you have Manrega, which applies to a lot of them. Then you have various other schemes of the government, because after all, the expenditure on rural Awas Yojana, the expenditure on rural sanitation, the expenditure on rural electrification, this is all being done to the advantage of those who really are extremely weak and underprivileged. So you already have a Manrega which is 60,000 plus this year.
Sir, have you assessed the growth of credit in the country, and what is the impact of the budgetary provisions on the borrowings for the productive sector as a whole?
No, credit growth, I think we have in our monetary policy, resolution of the monetary policy committee, and also immediately after the monetary policy decision. In my statement, we have mentioned that there is some credit growth visible. The aggregate flow of finance and credit to the commercial sector as a whole has shown some improvement, but it is not broad-based. It's not flowing into various sectors the way it should be, and this has been discussed already in the monetary policy, and we have factored that into our monetary policy decision. So I think we'll have to conclude here.
One small question,
we'll
sir.
have to.
This is Srivat from Business Line newspaper. Sir, question to the governor. Sir, recently the foreign portfolio investors have been shying away from the Indian debt markets. So in today's deliberation, was there any advice from the finance minister as to how RBI could sweeten the debt market for foreign investors? Can one expect more steps from the central bank on this?
No, we have already in the, while announcing the monetary policy, as you know, we have taken some initiatives with regard to the FIIs. We have removed that 20% cap which was there on the FIIs, that has been removed. We have had interaction with the FIIs in Hong Kong recently, and that's a continuous process. So thank you very much. I think we'll have to conclude here.